So probably in a little while, we were going to place the registration link on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel so that persons can huddle here and particularly for the breakout rooms where you can interact, right? So we're looking forward for a great day. I trust that it will certainly be insightful for those who are at the verge of choosing career paths. We do this because we know how critical this is for your future. And so welcome today. We want to, as we navigate the day, you will hear the voice of Pastor Edwards from time to time as he mans this technical station for us. And of course, Sister Maranella Glasgow, one of our gems, will be taking us through the paces of the day. God bless you, everyone. As we log in there, remind your friends, your parents on, ensure your children are here, you know, cousin, neighbors. This is for everyone. This is for our community. May God bless you as we enjoy National Career Fair and Motivational Conference 2021. God bless you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Pastor Smith, for giving us our opening remarks for this morning. Now, today we're all here to reimagine our future. To reimagine our future. Say it with me. Reimagine the future. Now, when I think about the future, there's so many words that come to my mind. But I'm curious as to what are some words that come to your mind when you hear the word future. So kindly share in the chat, what are some words you think about when you hear the word future? Let's see in the chat. When you hear the word future, what do you think about? To come, heaven, goals. Yes, I'm loving the response. Vision, technology, old age, in time. All right. Advanced technology. Wonderful. Science. Do we have some more persons? The life ahead of you. What life will be later on. Possibilities, economics. I'm loving the responses. I'm loving them. Prophetic. All right. Going forward, opportunities. Wonderful, wonderful. In our mind, we all have a definition or an idea of what the future is. And it's so exciting, but it's more exciting to know that everyone's future is unique. Everyone sees the future in a different way, and that is excellent. Today, we are going to address each of your ways in which you see the future. We're going to talk about economics. We will talk about science. We will talk about the prophetic future. We will talk about health. We will talk about advanced technology. We're going to have a wonderful time talking about the future. I am excited for my future, a future of success and possibilities and new opportunities. I am sure that you are as well. And so today, let's enjoy ourselves for these few moments that we're on the platform. But remember that we shouldn't enjoy this period all by ourselves. You must tell someone. And so I'll give you just 1 minute to share the link with someone. If you know that there's someone that is to be here, that isn't here, or they aren't here as yet, you need to send the link to them. Tell them that you're missing half of their lives. No, you can't afford to miss half of your life right now. No, all you'll be left with is half, and you wouldn't be able to achieve all of these possibilities with just half of your life. So share the link. Tell someone to join us. We're reimagining the future. We're analyzing, we're going to see all the possibilities that we can have from our future. Tell someone, invite someone. We're having a wonderful time here. And so this morning, to tell us a little bit more about this workshop and the thoughts that were invested behind the composition of this workshop and motivational conference, we are going to invite the head of this committee, Mrs. Candace Brower Thompson, to share with us an overview of this workshop. Let us welcome her as she comes.
Greetings, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where in the world you are. I would like to acknowledge also the presence of Pastor Marvin Smith and the Youth Ministries Director, and the many distinguished professionals who have graciously accepted our invitation to share their wealth of knowledge and experience to propel our young people to advance in their careers. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's no secret that we're living in a time of unprecedented challenges and great uncertainty. Moreover, the COVID-19 pandemic has left an indelible mark on the lives of all of us, changing the way we work and live forever. Given these realities, this year's virtual career fair will be observed, as the host mentioned, under the theme, Reimagining My Future. It seeks to create a platform for youth to be engaged in a meaningful dialogue to steer their career paths. The career fair aims to expose youths to pertinent knowledge, skills, and experiences necessary to start a career or to change their existing career path, or even to enhance their career and to be more innovative and creative and create their own impressions relative to their career path. The knowledgeable and competent coaches will not only share the requirement and expectations of the various careers, but they will also share experiences on how their work would have changed as a result of technological advancement and the pandemic, which continues to ravage our world. So this forum will not only provide you with existing career, but it's an opportunity to engage with people in the world of work and to equip you and prepare you to respond to the changes within our world. So in addition to focusing on helping you to understand your purpose, the coaches will, and the entire session also aims to help you reignite your passion and embrace the myriad of possibilities in the world of work. This year, as you would have observed from the flyer, the fair will be graced with the presence of a motivational speaker, Mrs. Bimisolo Ojo, all the way from the United Kingdom. And of course, this was made possible by technology. So just to give you an overview of the objectives of our engagement today, one is to provide youth with pertinent information for choosing a career path, to match your career interests with competent professionals who will provide coaching services, and to provide a platform for the exchange of knowledge, skills, and experiences for building a successful career. To give you an overview of the program, as was mentioned earlier by Pastor Smith, we're scheduled to end somewhere around lunch, just after 12. And presentation includes distinguishing between a job and a career, how COVID-19 has changed the way we work, our motivational talk, our career coaching session, which of course is the highlight of this, one of the highlights of this engagement, and advancing and financing your career. We have recognized the importance of highlighting opportunities in the oil and gas sector and other emerging careers. However, this period today, as we know, would not be sufficient. Therefore, we will seek to provide additional education and awareness in this regard. However, the coaching sessions will be a springboard for these important discussions. Further, this career fair will provide opportunities for you to ask questions, seek clarification, and provide feedback. And I want to leave you with this quote from Nelson Mandela, which says, "There is no passion to be found in playing small, in settling for a life that is less than you are capable of living. So today we will be reimagining our future, and we will be channeling our energies in a direction that will help us to maximize our potential. So I thank you very much for joining us, and do remember to share the link so that many other persons can benefit from these insightful discussions and profound engagements that we'll have today. Have a rewarding engagement, and may God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Candace Brower Thompson, for giving us an overview of today's program. Thank you so much. This morning, to begin our presentations, we are going to have someone who will talk to us about an important topic. Now, I was trying to decipher exactly what this topic is all about. And so someone assisted me by giving me 3 letters of this particular topic. Now, I'm not sure, but I know that since I have intelligent and insightful young people on this forum, they can assist me to decipher what this topic is going to be all about. And so here I will share with you my 3 letters that I have. My 3 letters, can you assist me to complete this word? What is this presenter going to talk about? Can you assist me to complete this word? Let me see in the chat. I hope that you're all seeing. Yes, my 3 letters. All right, all right. You know, I think that you're correct, because if I add the letters that you've suggested, C, A, R, E, E, R, that will give me the word career. And so this morning, we have Dr. Diana Glasgow, who will share with us what a career is all about. Now, I learned a secret, and let me share that with you right now. Pay attention. I learned that a career is not a job. Now, before I thought that it was the same thing, that if I have a job, I have a career as well. However, I was informed that a career is not a job. But I have someone who will be able to explain to all of us the difference between a career and a job. So help me virtually welcome Dr. Diana Glasgow as she talks to us about careers.
Thank you, host Marinello, and good morning, boys and girls, fellow coaches, organizers, Pastor Smith, other presenters. I was given a very simple task, and that is to share with you the difference between career and job. Now, as the host said, sometimes the 2 words are used interchangeably, so we tend to think that they're the same thing, but they are not. They're conceptually different. Even though we may use them interchangeably, we replace one with the other, they do not mean the same thing. And in order to provide some context to the workshop, to help you to appreciate what will come after my presentation, I'm going to spend some time helping you to appreciate the differences between the 2. These are some of the areas I want to look at to compare career and job. I want to look at basically what is a career and what is a job. How do we distinguish them with respect to time, income, contribution to society, risk taking, and the requirements to launch onto either a job or a career path. So as we go through these various areas, we'll be able to better appreciate what a career is. So in terms of the differences between a career and a job, and I'm taking the approach of comparing the 2, but fundamentally what I want is for us to understand what a career is And to do so, we are going to look at what a job is as well, so that we can better understand what a career entails. So what is it? What is a career? What is a job? What is the difference between the two? Or what are the similarities between the two? So fundamentally speaking, a career is the pursuit of a lifelong ambition or the general course of progression towards lifelong goals. So note some of the keywords that I'm calling: lifelong, ambition, general course of progression, goals. These are very important concepts in order to understand what a career is, and I'll explain a little bit as I move forward. A job, on the other hand, we don't see those keywords. A job is simply an activity through which an individual can earn money. So it's fundamentally just an activity that we may undertake to earn income, to pay our bills, but we're not looking at lifelong goals, right? So regular activity in exchange for payment. Now we can look at the differences in a bit more detail. I mentioned that there's some keywords. I want to pull out some of these keywords and emphasize a bit more the difference between a career and a job. A career is consistent with your character traits, your talents, your skills, and values. When you embark on a career, it's essentially realizing who you are. It's realizing your educational goals. It is getting into an income earning path that reflects your personality, your character traits, that draws upon your talents, your skills, and your values. You may choose a job simply to earn money, to pay your bills, to perhaps go on a vacation, to achieve some particular short-term goal. But a career goes beyond that. It goes beyond simply that means to an end, paying for material things. It is about unleashing your potential. It is about realizing your personality traits, developing your talents, understanding who you are, and choosing to work in an environment that helps you to reflect who you are and helps you to be associated with people that have a similar value system to what you have. So according to one source, it's the sum total of decisions that direct your educational, social, economic, political, and spiritual endeavors and reflect your unique personality, characteristics, and basic life values. So for instance, if one of your character traits is that you seem very keen on treating people who have received injuries, right? You love to care for them. It means that an ideal career path for you would be in the medical profession. In the medical profession, you have the scope or the potential to be who you are and to be comfortable on the job because you're doing something that inherently makes use of your character traits, your skills, your talents, and your values. Another important thing to note with respect to a career and a job is that there are differences in advancement opportunities. And the differences also influence your income earning capacity. You may take a job, again, just for temporary income. But if you are launching a career, and let's say, for instance, that career is in the accounting profession, then you may take jobs that are all related to the accounting field because ultimately you're looking to be able to advance yourself, to climb the career ladder, and to achieve the highest heights possible within that career path. So every job that you do jobs as part of a career, but you are very selective in your jobs. Every job that you do must count towards taking you up that professional ladder of ultimately becoming an accountant. So that is also a very important difference to know, the opportunities for advancement and the fact that you set goals and you're very selective in the jobs that you may embark on. Also important to note is the mental state associated with a job and a career. A job, again, is something that you do. You may do it because you don't have options, because you're in need of money temporarily. And so you take a job to be able to pay your bills, or to be able to say that you're actively engaged in something meaningful. You may not be excited on a Monday morning to go to work because the work that you're doing does not reflect who you are. It is something that you're simply doing for money, something that you're simply doing to engage yourself positively. A career, on the other hand, brings much personal satisfaction. So there are differences in fulfillment. One, you're extremely happy to do. Your Mondays, you have energetic Mondays, you're excited to go to work because the work that you're doing brings happiness. If it's just a job and it's just for money, and it doesn't allow you to be who you are, to use the skills and talents that you have, you may not be excited to go. You may be happy to leave on a Friday. You may leave work angry. You may upset if you have extra duties to perform, because this is not really what you want to do. This is not what you love to do. This is not who you are. This is just a temporary arrangement to earn money. But if you're in a career path that reflects your personality traits, the level of satisfaction is much higher. And you also invest much emotional energy in the job. You may go beyond the minimum that is required in this job. It is more than just a task for you. So your job is not just a job, but your job, if it is along the career path that you desire, is something that, because it brings you so much happiness, you're happy to do more than you have to do. So your boss may tell you do 10 charts, but because you love this job and you're so good at it, you may do 20 instead. So you go beyond the minimum call of duty. Your perception of the wages and salaries, the work environment, may also be different. If you're in a job, you're probably going to complain often if the environment is not one that is very comfortable. But if you're in a career path, something that you deliberately set a goal towards achieving, something that you deliberately embarked on because it reflects who you are, then the fact that the working environment is not the most comfortable one is not going to be an important factor. Right? So you have nurses, sometimes you have teachers who spend their own monies to beautify their classrooms because they love their job. It's not just a job for them. It's a career that reflects who they are. They love working with children. They love to see their classroom bright and colorful with teaching aids. So sometimes they go into their own pockets and spend their own monies. They may not be earning as much as the man well dressed in a suit in an office, but that would not dissuade them from this profession because they are happy, because it reflects who they are. So your perception of wages and salaries and the work environment, it changes when you're in a career as opposed to when you're in a job. The second comparison factor I want to focus on is time difference. There is a time difference. A job is more or less a short-term endeavor, and I've been using the two terms prior to getting to this point. Whereas a career is a long-term endeavor. So a career is a long-term professional journey you may determine based on your passions. It is the path you embark on to fulfill your professional goals and ambitions. So the job that you take this summer, which may just be for about 3 months, that's not your career. The career is that long-term profession you're hoping to achieve, which may be a doctor or a teacher, that requires that you invest in education and obtaining degrees and so forth. So a job is a short-term undertaking, whereas a career is a long-term undertaking. And of course, you may have several short-term jobs along the same career path, because we have career families, medical field, for instance, teaching, engineering, technology. These are all career families. And within them, we may have short-term jobs that we're taking to help us to build the experience to get to the top of the professional ladder. right? So very important. Careers take time to develop. They're long term. It's not something as soon as you finish a degree, you automatically have arrived at this career path or at the career that you wanted. It still requires that you build experience, that you network, etc. You have to gradually climb the professional ladder. But of course, taking the first step through educational training, etc., is critical. The third difference I want to focus on is income. Your earning capacity would be different if you have a job compared to a career. Jobs, some jobs don't require very significant skills set. And because of the differences in advancement opportunities, it means that what you may earn as a professional may outweigh what you would earn on a job. And the differences in the earning capacity is also because in order to embark on a career path, you have to undertake a certain amount of training. And of course, with the training, you will have improved skills. For instance, you spend 4 years at the university learning architecture. You have acquired skills that will allow you to earn more than someone who did not attend university. So your earning capacity differs on a job as opposed to a professional path. Somebody who goes all the way to completing a law degree, you would in law school, would earn, I would say, more than someone who did not finish that journey, someone who perhaps stopped at simply having that first degree from the university, right? And your capacity to earn, of course, it varies. Not all career paths earn the same amount of money. You may have some careers that are earning much more than others. Very important to note also is the non-monetary benefits. While you may earn more as a professional on a particular career path, sometimes it's the non-monetary benefits that really makes the difference. So for instance, as a lecturer, I may go to one government office and I see 5 persons that I taught at university. You know, and I'm able to skip certain lines because I'm seeing people that I taught at university. So those non-monetary benefits sometimes are far higher. The favors and the opportunities that come from networking are far more rewarding sometimes than the actual income that you earn from the job. And the contribution to society, what's the difference between the two? A career may have a high value as social change, and you may be social change and progress may be possible, so it may have a higher value to society. Jobs, on the other hand, may not have that significant a value as a career path, particularly where you have changes taking place in society. So we now have an oil and gas sector. If you were just working as an accounts clerk, your opportunities to earn would not be as high as somebody who was building a career in electrical engineering, perhaps, or architecture, right? So the changes that we're now seeing in society are much more rewarding for somebody who has launched onto a career path, as opposed to where they've acquired certain skills and experiences, as opposed to somebody who just opted to go work without developing the necessary skills to ensure that they have improved themselves or made themselves marketable for any changes that may take place in the labor market. And risk taking. There's a lot of risks involved in a career compared to a job. A job is a safe option, it's a cop-out. I just finished CXC, so I'm going to go work in my uncle's office as a receptionist or as a teller or something. That's a safe job, stable. The income is there, yes, may not be as much. A career requires a lot of sacrifices and risks. It means I have to delay earning any monies now and taking the time to go to university to pursue a degree, right? And perhaps when I'm finished with that first degree, going a little higher to pursue another degree. So it takes time. It means you're not going to be in a position to earn income immediately, but the rewards will far outweigh what you could have earned if you had worked immediately, right? So while a job is maybe safe, and careers may be risky also from the sense that you may have changes in your labor market, and you're not certain what those changes would be, so you take a chance perhaps doing a business management degree, and you're not certain how rewarding or how, if you're going to be able to find job opportunities with that degree when you're finished. But oftentimes the risks are worth it. And then I'm going to wrap up this presentation by looking at the final factor, which is requirements. And this is very critical. As I said, a job is a cop-out. It's a safe option. It doesn't require a lot of skills. So it doesn't require a lot of specialized training or education. But for a career, you require specialized training in order to develop the skills set and the abilities required for the job. So if you're going to be a teacher, for instance, you require a specialized degree. So you will have to go to the Sierra Porter College of Education and spend 3 years and get your degree. You could become a teacher without going to CPC, but that is just a job. That's not a career path, because your income earning capacity is going to be different. It's going to be less if you do not have the specialized training. So you have to undertake the training necessary to launch you onto your desired career path. And I did say earlier that experience is also critical. Having a career, developing a career is not just about the training, but it's also about the experience. So I can tell you, for instance, someone who just completed a degree in economics is not an economist. You're a budding economist. You're on the path to becoming an economist. You have to develop experience. You may have to do further specialized training in order to be able to call yourself an economist. Someone who's an architect, simply having the degree may not qualify you to be defined as an architect. You may also require some minimum number of years of experience in order to be able to be defined as an architect. But what I want to emphasize as I talk about requirements is that you are in charge of your career. Whether you want to get onto a career path is dependent on you. It's not dependent on your parents or anybody else. It is up to you. If you're internally motivated, you're more likely to succeed. So having a career means that you're planning for your long-term development as a professional. You have to set goals and you have to choose your career path, taking on board the requirements of that career path, your income earning capacity, etc. Preparation is critical, and according to Walt Disney, the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. So if you have chosen a particular career path, you're certain that this is where you want to head, you're certain that this reflects who you are, your personality trait, and it's going to bring you maximum personal satisfaction later down, then get started on realizing that career, undertaking the necessary training, networking, etc. Right. Your success in a particular career path is guaranteed if you have the education and experience. And with experience, very important, I should mention, is undertaking voluntary work, internships. Sometimes you're not going to get a job that you want because you don't have the experience. You may have the education, you have the degrees, but that alone may not be what a potential employer wants. They also want experience. So you should also try to seek out opportunities to build your experience. working in a voluntary capacity, doing internships, whether they be paid or not, so that you can begin to amass experience that would allow you to be better positioned for success along whatever career path you choose. Thank you. So that's the end of the presentation. I trust that everyone was able to get a better understanding of what a career is and what a job is. Let me just close by going back to that comparison chart. One is long-term, one is short-term. One requires a lot of risk. One is a safe coupled option. One requires a lot of education and experience. One does not. One is very valuable to society and it entails a lot of non-monetary benefits. One increases your capacity to earn over the long term. Of course, you're going to lose short-term income because you're spending time in an educational institution, acquiring the knowledge necessary for the career. But ultimately, when you do begin to work, your capacity will outweigh those who simply opted for a job. So I'm going to stop here, Madam Host, and hand the conference back over to you. And I trust that our participants were edified on the difference between a career and a job, and they're now a bit more positioned to be able to decide on what career path they may want to pursue in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Diana Glasgow, for an excellent presentation. You've cleared up the misconceptions and the questions that you may have had in our minds as to the difference between a career and a job. And I'm sure everyone here is excited to acquire a career, not just something that would last, or a job or something that will bring in income for a few days, but a career that is fulfilling and that of course will grant us the most success. Thank you so much, Dr. Glasgow. We're going to continue with our program this morning. I'll ask Mrs. Candace to share her screen. Good morning, and welcome to another edition of the Youth Ministries News. I am Marinella Glasgow. Today on the news, COVID-19 virus has disrupted the livelihood of many. More news in this report. The coronavirus disease, often referred to as COVID-19, is an infectious disease caused by the SARS-CoV-2 virus. It has disrupted the lives of many and is often identified by common symptoms of fever, dry cough, tiredness, aches and pains, sore throat, diarrhea, and so many more. Many persons have suffered because of this infectious virus. Today with me in studio is a professional who is here to share with us how this virus has affected our livelihood. It is important yet appalling to note that the coronavirus has affected our way of worship, our way of interaction with others, but most of all, the way we work. Today, to share with us is a professional who is a recipient of a Bachelor of Arts in Education from the Caribbean Union College, an MA in Curriculum and Teaching from the Howard University, a postgraduate diploma in Distance Education from the University of London, a doctorate of education in International Education Development and Curriculum from the Columbia University, and a master's in international human rights law from the University of Oxford. Today with me in studio is Dr. Barbara Reynolds. She's also working along with a group of students to focus on the language of Portuguese. She's active at her church in the areas of music, religious liberty, and youth development. This morning, I welcome you to our studio, Dr. Barbara Reynolds.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, everybody. Happy Sunday and good morning. Reimagining my future. Careers. Fascinating subject for all of us, even when you get to my age. So the question on the table is, how has COVID-19 affected the way we work? And this is my favorite icon for what COVID-19 has done for all of us. Just have a look at it. It's almost as if we were living in a bubble, and then COVID-19 came along. And with COVID-19, everything that we knew kind of rippled a little bit. The little ripple you see at the bottom speaks to disconnect, disjuncture, difference. And before I forget, it's absolutely important as we speak about career that the ethics and the honesty come uppermost in our minds. And so if you look at the screen now, the icon that I've just used, I've given you the source so that as young people, as we do our research, as we study, as we preach sermons, we attribute to the origin, to the source, anything that we've borrowed. So I'm being very clear that the icon that you just saw, that animation is not mine, and I've provided the source right where it is. I've chosen as my motif today 2 colors, black and white, because they go together. And they're so evocative of where we are in this 21st century. Ladies and gentlemen, things are really black or white. Now, I'm not going to say which is black and which is white, but things in the 21st century, as they were in the Garden of Eden, are either right or wrong. They're either ugly or beautiful. They're either true or untrue. They're either right, not a little bit right, not halfway right, but right or wrong. Hence the motif. Now, in some of the slides, you'll see some shading, some gray areas. And I chose those deliberately because those are the areas that get us into trouble. When we think that things are partially wrong or partially right, it's a bit like telling a young person that you're partially pregnant. And all of us know that no one is partially pregnant. Whatever everybody else says to you, we either know we're pregnant or we're not pregnant. And so I want to emphasize again that in the 21st century, as it was in the Garden of Eden, things are either right or wrong, beautiful or ugly, true or false. So here are some myths and mysteries that I want to explode right away. One is that success is not guaranteed. Now, I just listened to the previous speaker, and my apologies, Madam Previous Speaker. I'm speaking from my life experience that success is not guaranteed. It's not a human right. If it were, we wouldn't be where we are. So that's one myth to kind of explode right away. Another myth to explode is everyone cannot become president of the United States of America, or president of Guyana, or president of China, or Michael Jordan. We just came through the Olympics. It was grueling. For everyone that got a gold medal, they've left a trail of tears behind of people who tried and worked so hard. Some got right up to Japan, and then they missed the bus to get to the stadium. or that wonderful young man from Britain who made a false start and had to drop out from the 100 meters dash. So not everyone can become the president of the United States of America or Michael Jordan. We don't always get to choose. We don't always get to choose. Sometimes life chooses us. And some careers actually choose who we are. I remember back in the day before many of you were born, a lot of our best agriculturalists became agriculturalists because that was the only scholarship that was being offered. President Burnham wanted to develop the agriculture industry in Guyana, and he front-loaded all the scholarships, or many of them in agriculture, and some of our best and brightest went into agriculture. Some of them learned to love it, but they didn't have the benefit of choice. So we don't always get to choose. So here's where the choice comes in, because we do have a choice. If all the scholarships are in agriculture, our choice is to apply for one or not to apply for one. So we do have a choice. Please know that I'm not saying that we don't have a choice. I'm saying that we don't always get to choose our careers. Sometimes our careers choose us, and sometimes they're chosen for us. I'll give you my example. When I left high school, I became an Adventist in my penultimate year at high school. I wanted to go to CUC because I was a new Adventist. I hadn't the faintest idea what Adventism was all about. I was going to become an urban planner. I did for my A-levels, economics, geography, and history. But the only degrees they had at CUC at the time were a bachelor's of theology and a bachelor's of education. And this sister wasn't going to do theology, so I did education. I have to tell you, I fell in love with it. I've learned a lot from it and in it. And it has been a fabulous career. I want to make the point that sometimes, just sometimes, that planning doesn't work. So we don't always get to choose. Having said all of that, there's only one mystery here, and that is only heaven is assured. But there's an if, there's a condition. And since we're all Adventists, we all know it very well. So reimagining my career. Well, I want to make the point that we not only have to reimagine, we have to re-image our career in our minds, in our thinking, in everybody else's thinking. We have to retool what we do. And then we have to set out to realize it. So reimagining is good, but if we stop at reimagining, we'll be just reimagining for the rest of our lives. Please post your questions and comments in the chat. We may get to them. Those of you who are on YouTube, do the same. You may talk to one another. This is the age of social media, but post your questions and comments. React to what you're hearing. You may not agree with what I say. That's perfectly fine. Sometimes that's what life has to offer us. So there are 3 phases, and COVID-19 has changed every way in which we operate. And so the first of these is before we actually work. I want to focus on 2 constructs, employment and employability. Sometimes we fall into employment because we're not employable. And by employable, I include self-employment. We have to get to the point where we are employable for us to be employed. And the previous speaker spoke about a career and a job. I've had both. I've loved both. I've hated both. But ultimately, the word employable is key. When I was at CUC, I remember all the persons who were training to be a pastor after Dr. Wiggins got on campus, they started talking about we must have a marketable degree. And so the guys, very few girls who did theology, started to do business because they wanted to have a marketable degree. How has that changed in the 21st century? It's changed in this way, that there's no single career path that is pure and vertical. Everything we do is multidisciplinary, and COVID has shown us that with a magnifying glass. So even if one is a judge, one has to know how to do one's trials on Zoom. One has to know how to use the computer, how to use the applications to safeguard everything that we do. If you're a plumber today and you want to go and work in the oil and gas industry, you need to understand the technology that governs plumbing. If you're a deep sea diver in the oil and gas industry, it's the technology that gets you down there and brings you back up. So the point I'm making is that we must become employable, and we do that by mixing and matching a lot of things. A lot of kids at UG have done international relations and then find themselves without a job, or find themselves doing things that have nothing to do with international relations. Because international relations is a frame. If you're going to do international relations, you have to combine it with economics, so that when you get to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, you're going to sit at a desk that deals with the economic relations among states, because there's nothing that is just on its own. I hope I've used a couple of illustrations on that. The next one I want to talk about in terms of phase in every which way physically. So I have sat on the chair on which I'm sitting for nearly 18 months, 10, 12 hours a day. I get to the point where I feel as if my back is glued to the chair, because physically that's what COVID-19 has done to me. So we've done everything: weddings, funerals, wakes, parties, celebrations, work right here. Some others have had to go out, and the risks that they face are the physical changes they've had to make. Emotionally, overwhelming. You can post in the chat what your emotions are. Some of us are indifferent. For me, this has been overwhelming. And I thought I'd lived through enough wars and enough famine and enough disaster to be able to deal with this. I've commented on technologically, financially. Some jobs have been totally wiped out. Let me give you a couple of examples. If you worked in a school and you ran a canteen, you've been out of a job for 18 months. So that's just one example. Socially, the distancing, the addiction to social media. Psychologically, I see a lot of this on our chats, a lot of crazy stuff overwhelming us. You know, we're hearing all kinds of things that are confounding what we knew to be right or wrong, true or false. But it comes down to the spiritually. And if we get the spiritually right, not because we can do it by ourselves, but because God can do it. If we get the spiritually right, then our mental health is secure. And then the last point about this is after we work. So I'm going to do a play on this. The after we work is in the here and now, but it's in the then and there. So the rest and the relaxation, and my clock tells me I've just got about 3 more minutes. In the rest and the relaxation, in the restoration, the retirement, and recreation. So if you take people in their 60s, what they had planned for retirement is not what they're doing now. How do we rest and relax? Well, I love TikTok. So my breaks during the day are TikTok or YouTube music. The value about TikTok is that after 5 seconds, if you don't like it, you scroll up. The value about TikTok is you can choose inspiration, you can choose music, you can choose jokes. So I'm a TikTok fan. I'm not telling you to become a TikTok fan. The point I'm making is we have to craft a way for us to rest and relax and restore ourselves and figure out what happens when work is done in the evening and we're shut away in the same room where we've been all day. But ultimately, the test of the impact of COVID-19 is that question of recreation in a spiritual sense, in an eschatological sense, in the sense of where are we on that statue of gold? Are we still on the toes, or as some pastors like to say, are we in the toenails? And I'm not a prophet, I'm not saying where we are, I'm saying these are the considerations. And everything that we believed before, what COVID has done is thrown it into stark relief. It's either black or white. It's yes or no. So some essentials for COVID-19. If you go back to my original slide, there was a ball sitting on a cube. The question is, how do we balance all of this? And it seems at first glance that it's very, very difficult to balance a ball on a cube. But I found someone here who could actually do it. And so these are the essentials. Keeping close to God, of course. A willingness to change and change quickly. Changing on a dime is important. If you look at the news in Guyana today, you'll see that some of us are not changing very quickly. But you remember that comment that I made about honesty? Some people have actually changed. They've gone and taken the vaccine. They're anti-vax. But because they want to keep their jobs, they've gone and taken the vaccine and they haven't told us. Enough said on that. Keeping close to God is critical. The willingness to change and change quickly, but also to be honest and straightforward about it. Learning to separate the sheep from the goats, the gold from the dross, particularly on social media. Ladies and gentlemen, social media is fabulous. Google is wonderful. YouTube is great. TikTok is hilarious. But we can find anything that we want to find there, the good, the bad, and the indifference. And it's going to be up to us to figure out what is what. The nice thing about this is that God has no grandchildren, so he only has children. So if we keep close to God, he's going to kind of guide us about where we want to be. I want to post the last one there, and that's being willing to share, and share again. There was a time in my life I would never tell anyone I was struggling. You ask me how I was, I'll tell you, I'm fine. I'm doing just well. I found that that's neither good for me, nor is it good for the other person. So I'm willing to say, no, I'm struggling with this virus. I'm struggling to make sense of this crazy world. But in doing so, I'm also willing to share the next bullet, and that is, what I do is try to keep my faith, try to keep hope alive, and try to keep love alive. The love for my family, the love for my friends, the love for my job, for my country, for my church, but ultimately trying to keep my love for Jesus okay. And so these are the essentials for COVID-19 and beyond. I hope that has been helpful, but here's the issue. Perspective is everything. If in COVID-19 we talk about mask of the beast, that's one perspective. If we say we have our herbs and that should be natural treatments and that will suffice, that's another perspective. If we say the vaccine is going to wipe us all out, that's another perspective. If we say God is in control, that's yet another perspective. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, if we say the best is yet to come under God, that's another perspective. Perspective is everything. Thank you very much. Madam Chair, I yield back my time to you. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to address them. I hope those who have been participating have posted their comments in the chat. I know you're pressed for time, so thank you very much. And Pastor Smith and company, thank you very much for helping me to go through this process with you. Be well and safe.
Thank you so much, Dr. Reynolds, for an insightful presentation. Thank you for joining us today in our studio. This is all for the Youth Ministries News. Kindly join me next time right here. Thank you so much. Thus far, we've had 2 excellent presentations, and I'm sure that you have many questions to ask. So kindly place your questions in the chat so that our presenters will be able to answer them for you. Or if there's anyone who wants to unmute their microphone, kindly do so right now. I'll give you the opportunity to ask your questions.
If you haven't slept inside a giant potato, here's your chance. Can't wait. The big Idaho potato.
Mrs. Chan?
Yes, I just want to.
Morning.
Good morning to everybody. I just want to say that I was on a Zoom yesterday with Guy Metro. Guy Metro is an Adventist group in New York, and they were having a similar presentation. And everything Dr. Reynolds said is exactly what came through the message when it comes to career. The world is changing. The world has changed. The careers that you had, they no longer exist. So guidance into what you guidance into what you're going to do is so pertinent. The other thing that we want to underscore is that of telling the truth. Okay, right? We have this whole notion, how are you today? I'm okay, I'm fine. And then we ask, what does okay mean? I do that in my work actually. You find the person stumped, they don't know what. So we need to be true to our emotions, our strength. We all go through some stuff with the light that, you know what? I've been saying to people, how are you today, Sister Chan? I said, you know what? I've seen better days, but I'm doing fine in spite of it all. So we have to be true to our own emotions. Thank you, Dr. Reynolds. I think you were right on target, and I trust that the young people will take that notion into spreading what the person said yesterday. They call it spreading your skill set, just spreading it, because no one skill set will help you to survive right now and even in the future. Thank you all. God bless you. Great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Beverly Chan. Are there any other questions or comments?
Sister Chair, I see there's a question that says, if you're in real estate, is it possible to have a real estate company? Possible, yes. Guaranteed, no. Go back to the previous presenter. One has to build from the ground up. And what happens if you don't become a real estate person? Are you willing to sell real estate for someone else? So those are some of the questions that I would cluster around that question in the chat. But always it's a question of what else is happening where I am and how do I move forward? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Reynolds. Finally, are there any other questions or comments? All right. Thank you once again, presenters. Now, I'm sure that you all are having an interesting time thus far, and I can see this from your comments that you would have placed in the chat. We are enjoying what we are receiving, and we're grateful for this. I use this opportunity to welcome all of you, especially those who would have joined us a little later than the time we would have started. Thank you for taking time out of your day's schedule to join us today. We hope that you have a wonderful session and that you are motivated to have a fulfilling future and to set up yourself in such a way that you will have a successful future. At this time, I invite Pastor Marvin Smith, who will introduce a special person to us. Today, from the United Kingdom, we will have a special person who will share with us a motivational speech. We know that in this time, we need as much motivation as we can have. And so I invite Pastor Marvin Smith to introduce our speaker for today.
Hello again, everyone. I'm not Pastor Smith, sorry, but the privilege is mine to introduce our speaker for today. So this is a highly anticipated moment, and the distinguished privilege is mine to introduce to you our motivational speaker for today. She's a well-accomplished but humble young woman. She worked as a cybersecurity and cloud developed technology professional in the United Kingdom. So talk about women in technology. She's very passionate about God and seeing people thrive in all aspects of their life, career, family, and spirituality. Moreover, she loves to see women thriving in all aspects of their lives. She's a passionate child of God, as I mentioned, and seeks to glorify Him in her sphere of influence. She's the co-founder of Proactive Praying Moms, an arm of the NGO Family Point Initiative. Our guest speaker holds bachelor and master's degrees in mechanical engineering and is happily married to the man of her dreams, Mr. Samuel Ojo. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's show our appreciation and welcome to Guyana and to our national Career Fair, Mrs. Bimisola Ojo. Mrs. Ojo, the platform is over to you.
Thank you very much for that introduction, and good morning, everyone. Good morning to the youths of Guyana. I'm really excited to be with this, and I really want to say thank you for this opportunity that you have granted unto me. So I'll just be motivating us for the next 20 minutes, and thank you for the introduction. I'm excited to be joining the youths at the 7-day Adventist annual career conference. I think it's always very exciting when we see that Christians seek to thrive in every aspect of our lives. It's something I'm very passionate about. I don't just believe in spirituality alone or career alone. I love to see the balance of everything. So I'll just get right into the speech. And yes, so now I was asked to speak about how to excel in your career and chart your own career path. As I was introduced earlier, I think my introduction already speaks about my career experience. So I studied mechanical engineering at university, and now I'm a DevOps and cybersecurity professional. I believe that already passes across a message to let us know that it's not so much about what you study at university. You can actually learn and grow to be whatever it is that you want to be, and you can chart your own, course and become anything that you want to be, especially in these days that we live in. So now I'm going to start by the entire focus of this motivational speech is going to be centered about how you can, excel in your career regardless of what stage you are. Now, I must say that I know that in the house, we have a mixed group of people. We have people who you don't know what you want to do yet, or some people who are in a career and you're looking to change, or some people who your career might have been affected, because of the COVID-19 pandemic. I want you to know that whatever category you are, whatever state you are, even if you don't know what you want to do next, I want you to believe that God has a plan for you. That's why we're Christians. God will guide you and God will direct you. So this speech is just to spark up something in you, and I really hope that it really helps you. Now, in terms of excelling in your career, the very first thing I would advise you, the very first thing I would say to you is a mindset of lifelong learning. I mean, the previous speakers who have spoke today have done an excellent job of setting the path for us and trying to spark up something new in us. In the days that we live in, there is no amount of education that is sufficient to actually get you to where you want to be, either in your job or in your career. So you need to have a mindset of lifelong learning. What do I mean by that? You need to be flexible. You need to be able to try new things. I studied mechanical engineering and I had to switch into technology, and it was because I got an opportunity in it. Everything I've learned in my career, in my 4-year career in technology, has been things that I've been learning on the job. Now, having a mindset of lifelong learning means that you're not just looking at yourself through the lens of the degree that you got in university alone. You're thinking of yourself as someone who is flexible enough, who is moldable enough, who can change what you've learned or learn more things that will actually help you to grow in your career. So that is the very first thing I would like to say to you today, a mindset of lifelong learning. And you might look at me and say, oh, but what I studied is all I know. Or you might be in a situation where you're thinking that what you studied is not what you want to do. That's absolutely fine. The Bible says in Philippians chapter 4, verse 13, that I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Now, I'm referring to this scripture because I mentioned earlier, I love a balance of spirituality and your actual life. The Bible is meant to be your guide. If God tells you something in his word, then it is possible for you. And I need you to believe that. So you can actually learn anything if you put your mind to it. I want you to believe it because it's actually truth. Now, the second thing I will say about becoming a successful person is your attitude. And the scripture I will use for this is Colossians chapter 3, verse 23. I can assure you, this is my anchor scripture as far as my career is concerned. The Bible says in Colossians 3:23, whatever you do it with all your hearts as working for the Lord and not for human masters. A lot of people think that career success is about your excellent technical skills alone. People that have been in career for many years will tell you that it's not just about the skills. We have people who are so good at their job, but they don't have a good attitude. They never get the promotions. They never get the opportunities. It is good for you to be very good at your job, to learn the skills that are required for the job, but without a good attitude, Without a good attitude, you would not be able to remain successful in that career. And how do you cultivate a good attitude? That's why we're Christians. As you become closer to God, you begin to exhibit the fruit of the Spirit. Character is so important in our journey in life. This is the game changer. So I found myself in situations where I've been in careers where I wasn't the best in the team, but the people who were very good, they used to come late to work. They had really poor attitude. And I saw people giving me more opportunities to learn because they saw that my attitude was good. If you have a good attitude, you can learn anything. You can pick up the skills that will make you successful in any career. These are things that sometimes we forget to pay attention to. Sometimes we focus on, learn how to code, learn this, learn that. But I can assure you, your attitude is a game changer when it comes to building a successful career. The third thing I would like to speak to you about today in terms of being successful is excellence. Oh, I believe so much in excellence. Now, it might take a while for you to find your path, and that's okay. Don't feel under pressure, because once you find it, you can put all your energy into it. Excellence is so important. See, we dominate in this world by excellence. Now, look at the people that are doing great things in the world right now. Look at people that are, we have in the world right now. We recorded a success for those of us that are conversant with, people that are very influential in the world. We saw that, Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson, they were able to land, they were able to build spaceships that could get people commercially to space. Now, they've been building that for many years. It's a success in humanity. That could have been achieved only by excellence. They get the brightest minds in the world to push this vision. Whatever you do, you have to be excellent. And I'm not talking about excellence in terms of your grade. You don't have to have finished with the first class to be excellent. Excellence is a mindset. You can develop it at any point in your life. So you might think that, I finished with a degree that, I'm not very proud of it. That's fine. You can start a new journey in your life today. You don't have to remain. You don't have to define your entire life by your past. If you choose that today, I want to start being an excellent person, you can reteach yourself. You can become a better version of yourself. So don't think that you're limited by what the society has said to you. Don't think that you're limited by whatever your degree says, whether it's good or bad. Sometimes even success can limit us because you feel like, I had a first class in this and that's all I know. It doesn't matter. You can be good at something else as well. Or you might feel like I failed this course, so I can never learn it. That's not true. You're a child of God. You can be better. So I want to tell you today that you can start becoming excellent whenever you decide to. I want you to know that you can start your journey of excellence anytime. Now, people have different skills, and you need to understand that the academic system, it only grades us in a particular way. Even if your degree tells you something about yourself, that may not be true. You may not be an academic person. Maybe that's why you didn't have a very good grade, but there are other things that you're good at. And you will find it as you continue to try your hands on things, as you continue to have an attitude of lifelong learning. So excellence is a mindset, which means that whatever it is that you do, which is tied to the attitude, don't work. Anything you find yourself doing, I believe every single one of us is probably doing something at the moment, whether it's something that you like, whether it's a volunteer opportunity, whether it's something you're being paid for or not, it does not matter. Anything that you find to do, make sure that you are diligent at it. Make sure you are excellent at it, because you don't know where the next opportunity is coming from. So you need to have a mindset of excellence. How do you become excellent? How do you develop this mindset? You need to think, if somebody gives you a piece of work to do, for example, give a presentation, always ask yourself, is this the best this presentation can be? What else can I add to this presentation to make it good? This is what differentiates people. This is what makes you successful. People who go the extra mile and put the additional effort, those are the excellent people. And like I said, you can start at any time. The Bible says in Proverbs chapter 22, verse 29, that seest thou a man that is diligent in his business, he will stand before kings and not mean men. So it's not really about what you do eventually. It's about you making sure that you are the best in that field. You can be a cook. You can make sure that you have the mindset of being the best cook that anybody would ever find. And this leads me to the point where I will talk, and the next thing I'll talk about is research. Now, whatever it is that you choose as your career, sometimes it takes a while to discover what you really like and all of that. But whatever it is that, and I'll talk about that later, but whenever you find that thing you want to do, Always do your research about who is the best person doing this in the world right now. Say, for example, you want to be a cook. Google who is the best cook in the world. You know, we live in a day of information right now. You can find anything online. You can always Google things. Check on YouTube. I want to see the best cooks in the world. If you decide to be a software developer, who is the highest paying software developer in the world? What are they doing? What do I need to do to get there? This is how you become excellent. This is how you become diligent. So it's not so much about what you're doing, but your mindset towards what you're doing. Now, the last thing I would like to speak about is passion. How do you find what you're passionate about? How do you find your path? See, I can assure you that sometimes it does take time and it takes a lot of experimentation. I told you I studied mechanical engineering. When I finished my university, I was trying to get a job, and I remember being so rigid. I kept on telling my friends, I really want to do a mechanical engineering job. I was so fixed on mechanical engineering. But a good thing, which is also something I would like to highlight today, was I had the right relationships around me. People around me said, why not? Don't limit yourself to mechanical engineering alone. The days we live in, you can literally become anything. And they started telling me about different career options. So I became open-minded. If you want to be successful, you have to be open-minded. You have to be open-minded. So I was open-minded enough, and I said, okay, fine, let me try other things apart from mechanical engineering. After all, I wasn't getting job opportunities in mechanical engineering, though I finished with good grades. And then I started trying different things. I started applying for different things, and luckily I got a job in technology. When I started my job in technology, I eventually found that it was something I liked, and I put in my effort. So sometimes you just find yourself in a situation where you didn't even plan for it, but put in your best. Make sure you do it to the best of your ability. When you're putting your best in something and you still find out that that's not what you like, then you can move on to something else. But the mindset of excellence must always be there in anything you do. So you might have tried different things. Don't stop trying. Don't stop trying. Now, what my last advice, as far as, trying to build a successful career is concerned, will be that do a lot of research, please. I tried to speak about this earlier. Now, because of the COVID pandemic, we already know that the world has changed. There's some jobs that are going to become very obsolete as the days go by. Now, you need to make sure that whatever career path you're choosing, whatever it is that you want to choose as your line of passion, you need to make sure that it's a job that will be in demand in the next 20 years, 30 years, 50 years to come. I'm in technology. I'm very passionate about technology, and I can assure you that a lot of jobs are going to be taken over by robots. It's not something to be afraid of. It's just something for you to be aware of, so that you don't start, learning skills that will not be relevant. It's just like there was a time when, typewriting was the order of the day, but these days that we live in, typewriters have been replaced by computers. So you don't want to learn skills that are not going to be relevant in the next 20, 30, and 50 years. So do a lot of research when you're trying to choose your career path. Make sure that the skills that you learn today are going to be relevant in the years to come. I love technology, and I can speak for technology. I know that if you choose a career path in technology and you're very strategic about it, you're likely going to be in the market for many years. Things like cloud computing, data science, machine learning, and all of that. But even that being said, not everyone is going to be able to do technology. Not everyone likes to code. And of course, there are some non-coding roles in technology as well. But whatever, even if you choose to be a cook, even if you choose to be a fashion designer, whatever it is that you choose to do, as long as you are excellent in it, and as long as you are sure from your research that job will continue to be in high demand, make sure that you go for it and you put in your very best in it. Now, moving on from my talk today, I want to leave us with some final words. I know that we live in a day where there's so much uncertainty. There are limited opportunities. You probably want to start a business and you're thinking, how do I get a loan? There's so many challenges in the days that we live in. Apart from our mental health, there are other challenges. Now, I need you to know that the fact that you're a Christian is your anchor and your backup against all those challenges. You need to be able to trust God and take a leap of faith. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to try something. Don't be afraid to ask people for help. Don't be afraid to say what you want. Don't be afraid to demand from life what you want. If today you decide that you want to be a technology professional, start pursuing it. Put in your efforts, put in your very best. Do your research. If possible, get someone to coach you and get someone to mentor you. The road is not going to be rosy. Things might be difficult along the way. but don't let that stop you from trying. I failed many times in my career. As you can imagine, it was really hard moving in from mechanical engineering into technology. There are many days I even cried on the job because I was so ashamed of the mistakes I was making. But today I look back and I'm so happy about the journey that God has taken me through. There'll be failures on the way. The road is not always smooth in life, but I want you to know that eventually, if you continue to put in your best, you will get from life exactly what you want out of life. So your spirituality is what fuels you. The fact that you're a Christian is what makes the difference. I tell people that my life strategy is the Bible. This is the reason I study the Bible every day. I don't do it religiously. I'm looking for the word of God to power me, to put up faith in me. I tell you things like you can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. The world never tells you that, but the Bible tells you that. This is why you need to read the Bible, because you need to find your truth in the word of God. This is why, as Christians, we have an advantage because we have the Bible to study and we have God protecting us and guiding us. So be fueled by your spirituality. Don't be a religious person in the sense of, just keeping to rules and regulation. Have a relationship with God. Have a connection with God. Pray about your life. Study the Bible. Pray. Ask God to help you. Ask God to direct you. The advantage that we have as Christians, apart from the fact that we have the Bible to study, we have God to direct us, to grant us favor, to teach us, to show us the path that he has actually designed for us. So you're not alone. You're not helpless. You have the Bible. You have God guiding you. You have your spirituality. So I don't want you to, I don't want you to be discouraged, whatever stage you are. There's something for you. God has a plan for you. God has a big purpose for you. But it won't happen just by sitting down. You have to move. You have to get started. So everything you will hear today and you continue to hear, I want you to know, don't just take it as information that, I've heard all this before. No. Take it seriously. Go back to God and pray about it. Ask God to direct you. Ask God to grant you favor when you apply for jobs. That's the difference that we have. The fact that we can study the Bible, the fact that we can pray, the fact that we can ask God for favor, the fact that we can ask God for things ahead, the fact that we have somebody in heaven looking after us, it makes all the difference. So this is what I would like to say to you today, the youths of Guyana. And I really hope that, you've been inspired to really, really, pursue your career and unleash your best version of yourself. Thank you very much.
Excellently done. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mrs. Ojo, for an inspiring and motivational speech that you've given to us. And it's so amazing that you have encouraged us to read the Word of God that book, the Holy Word of God, has all the advice that we need to have a successful life. I thank you so much for giving us your time this morning to share those important thoughts with us. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Amen.
And so to continue with our program, my words aren't sufficient to extend appreciation to our presenters. And so I'll ask Pastor Smith to assist me with showing the appreciation.
Amen. I'm really, really blessed. I really wanna endorse all that was said, the comments in the chat. I believe that we're off to an excellent start. We're off to an excellent start. Today is a day, it seems to me, where we can really revision, refocus, re-image our careers. Because our presenters have really been relevant and practical. I want to thank Dr. Diana Glasgow, who started the ball rolling. She's always spot on, as I commented in the chat. Dr. Glasgow, thank you for speaking to the difference of job and career. That was really a foundational presentation, and for those who missed that one, I think those who came in late, we have streamed this for archiving purposes. I think you really need to get it from the top. the difference between jobs and careers. I love the concept you brought out where patience is required to really develop yourself to fit into your career. I like that. Getting a job on the short term sometimes would not benefit you on the long term, but making the sacrifice, growing your career is a sacrifice. I think that resonated with me as well. Dr. Diana Glasgow, thank you very much. And of course, Dr. Reynolds, I almost said the legendary Dr. Reynolds, for your presentation. You're always paradigm shifting, paradigm expanding, paradigm investigating. That's the nature of who you are in your presentations, and it came out clearly. The whole idea of the practical approach to career and the practical understanding of how a career can work out, but life literally chose it, and those were some very real illustrations. The idea of creating the balance, your overarching theme of creating the balance and what is needed, the need for change, the need for adjustment, growth, for investigating what is happening around you, the need for soft skills and diversified skills. Great presentation, Dr. Reynolds. I really want to say that it was inspiring, it was instructive, it was eye-opening, it was stimulating. And then our motivational speaker, Miss Bemisola Ojo, I endorse the welcome to Guyana. You are full of energy, full of zest. I think that motivational speech, as I looked at the comments, you had us saying amen a lot. I'm not sure if amen was the required response, but it really ministered to us in a deep way, where I sense your direction of challenging us to be the best, to go for excellence. You have placed emphasis on mindset, and of course that is biblical, that is solid. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And so the measure of the thought, connects to the measure of the man. Very, very, very biblical. I also like the fact, Miss Ojo, that you focused on not only excellence in mindset, but the mindset to be a learner all along life's path. And that is super good. My big takeaway, and I just want to restate and reiterate, you spoke about researching someone who is successful in the field of your passion and love. That is a diamond bit of advice. That is diamond advice, all the way from the United Kingdom. That is diamond from the UK. And for those who are on, that is great. Whatever field you're in, look for someone who is in that field, who's excelling. I don't want to water down what was said with class and zest. And so, Miss Bimisola, I just want to say thank you on behalf of the team here and participants. You have delivered in a way. We desired motivation, and you've went beyond. You've given us motivation, inspiration, and transformational presentation. Thank you very much. May God bless you as you continue to expand your reach across the globe.
Thank you so much, Pastor Smith. Thank you so much. Now it's that time that we've all been waiting for. The time when we can interact with the coaches, the experts that will give us pertinent information as to the path we desire to walk upon. But before we have an interaction with our coaches, I have a small activity for you. My first activity for you is to share with me how you're feeling this morning. Are you feeling sad? Are you feeling energetic? Are you feeling fabulous? How are you feeling this morning? I would like to know. Just tell me in the chat. Let's see how you're feeling today. Refreshed, energetic, fabulous, glad and excited, wonderful. How are you feeling? Blessed, highly favored, grateful, wonderful, motivated, energized, wonderful. Somebody said careerified. I love that. I love that. Yes. Inspired. I feel the same way. I feel excellent. I am so inspired by all of the presentations so far, and I'm happy that you are too. My second activity for you this morning, I'm sure that during your quarantine, you were engaging in some particular activities. Let me see how many of these activities you would have participated in during your quarantine. Just share the number of activities that you would have participated in thus far.
Bingo.
Go right ahead.
So your own math. What you gotta do? Me even in a list of them people.
How many of these activities have you participated in? Did you sew your own mask? Did you ride a bike or learn to ride a bike? You can share in the chat as well. What are the activities you engaged in? Wonderful. Sleeping, reading, cooking, gardening. All right. Did anyone call a friend? Walk in nature? What new did you learn? Yes, there's someone who binge watched television. Yes, call a friend. Homework. Did you deep clean your home? Great, great. I'm happy that quite a few persons would have learned something new. Yes. Socializing, reading a book. Excellent, excellent. We would have used our time wisely and to have some leisure time as well. Yes, yes. Wonderful. Thank you so much for participating in our activity. And so this morning, it's time for us to hear from our coaches. Now, kindly pay attention to the following instructions that I will give to you. In a few minutes, I am going to read the captions for the breakout rooms. Now, when I read the captions for the breakout rooms, you are going to rename yourself according to the breakout room that you desire to be a part of. I will read each breakout room and the persons that will be a part of the breakout room, the coaches, and the group leader, after which you are asked to rename yourself according to the breakout room you would like to be a part of. Are we all together? Are we all together? I do hope that we are.
Yes.
Right. Excellent, excellent. And so our first, our first breakout room Health Sciences. We have Dr. Melissa Varswick. She's a medical doctor. She's the Chief Executive Officer of the Georgetown American University. We have Nurse Hilton Moore. He's a registered nurse at the Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex. And we have Dr. Gabrielle Khan. She's a dental surgeon at the Chedi Jagan Dental School. The group leader is Dr. Melissa Varswick. If you're interested in the health sciences, kindly rename yourself so that you'll be added to that breakout room. Moving on, we have the natural or physical sciences. We have Dr. Maharaj. She has an MSc in plant and environmental sciences, a PhD in biology. She's a lecturer at the University of Guyana in the field of biology, and she's the director of the Center for the Study of Biological Diversity. We also have Mr. Collis Primo. He's a senior environmental officer at the Environmental Protection Agency. The leader of this group is Mrs. Candace Brower Thompson. If you're interested in the natural and physical sciences, kindly rename yourself and join this breakout room. Moving on, we have economics, banking and accounting, oil and gas management, customs and trade. For economics, oil and gas management, we have Mr. Dennis Kyle, he is a recipient of a Master of Science and Economics. He's an economist and a policy analyst. He is also a lecturer at the University of Guyana. We have Mrs. Akisha Paul Singh Thomas, who is also a recipient of a Master of Arts in Business Management. She is the Chief Financial Officer and Certified Money Laundering Professional at the Pure Diamond Incorporated. For Customs and Trade, we have Ms. Akita Bastillo. She is a Risk Management Officer, Customs, Excise, and Trades Operation at the Guyana Revenue Authority. The leader of this group will be Mrs. Akisha Paul Singh Thomas. If you're interested in this area of study, kindly join this breakout room. Moving on, we have the breakout room, Law and Communications. For Trade Policy, we have Mr. Lyndon Charles, who's a recipient of a Bachelor of Laws and Master of Law as well. He works at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as a Foreign Service Officer. Also have Attorney at Law Talisha Williams, who is a recipient of a Bachelor of Laws and Legal Education Certificate. We have Attorney at Law Chevy Devonish, also recipient of a Bachelor of Laws and Legal Education Certificate. Attorney at Law Talisha Williams will be focusing on family law, while Attorney at Law Chevy Devonish will be focusing on public law, civil law, and communications. For corporate law, we have Attorney at Law Kadeem Davis, who is also recipient of a Bachelor of Laws and Legal Education Certificate. The leader of this group will be Attorney at Law Talisha Williams.
Hey, Mom, is there?
For the field of education, we have Miss Lillian Thomas. She's an educator and the head of Department for Social Studies at the North Rumveld Multilateral School. If you're interested in the field of education, kindly join this breakout room. Languages, arts, and humanities, or the social sciences, we have an artist, Mrs. Elodie K.H. Smith. She's an instructor, an artist, and a professional designer. She works at the art department or in the art department at the University of Guyana. For religious leadership and ministry, we have Pastor Marvin Smith, a pastor of the Guyana Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. For psychology, Mrs. Latoya Arthur Tucker, who's a recipient of a Bachelor of Science in Psychology and a Master's in Counseling Psychology with emphasis in education. She is also a part-time lecturer at the University of Guyana. The leader of this group will be Pastor Marvin Smith. The field of architecture, engineering, technological and vocational streams, we have civil engineer, Mr. and Mrs. Elon Suknandan, the head of infrastructure and project environmental head of infrastructure at the Environmental Protection Agency. We also have an architect, Miss Crystal Pyle. She's a recipient of a BS in architecture. We have Mr. Archibald Scotland, an architect, contractor, and a contractor, a recipient of technical certificates in architectural drawing. We have Mr. Richard Mon, CEO of the Board of Industrial Training at the Ministry of Labor. He will be focusing on electrical installation, assessment, and certification. If you're interested in this stream, kindly join this breakout room. And finally, we have Mr. Mark Roberts. He's an assistant TVET officer at the Council of TVET. The leader of this group will be Elon Suknandan. If you're interested in this breakout room, kindly join.
Thank you, Marinella. Just before the groups are launched, for those who haven't seen any specific your specific area, you can choose one of the groups that is closest to your career shop preference. You can choose one of those groups, okay? All right, so at this time too, I'll invite Pastor Smith to give instructions to the persons who have joined us on the other social platforms on Facebook as well as YouTube. So do wait to the persons on Facebook and YouTube for your instructions. The groups will be launched shortly. Do ensure you get into one of these groups, all right? Pastor Smith, the platform is over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the instructions are very clear. For those persons who are on Facebook or YouTube, I want to firstly say that we will be ending the stream when we launch the breakout rooms. We'll be closing the stream. So the program officially ends for those who are on Facebook and YouTube. We want to say thank you for participating. Thank you for joining. If you're not able to go beyond this, and by this I mean, we are going to share in the YouTube on the chat and the Facebook chat. Pastor Edwards will share the link to this Zoom platform. So you can join us. You've heard the instructions. You can sign in now and join us on this Zoom platform, and you will be able to access the breakout rooms. I can see the participants are already joining the rooms. Take this opportunity. So for those who are on Facebook, YouTube, we'll give you another 2 to 3 minutes to transition to the Zoom platform, after which we will be ending the stream. Pastor Edwards, thank you very much. Pastor Edwards will lead that process. Thank you. Okay.
All right, for those persons on the Zoom and YouTube platforms, in 2 minutes, we'll be ending the feed there. And again, we're inviting everybody to come on to the, those persons on the Facebook and YouTube platform, sorry. We'll be ending the stream there in 2 minutes, and we're inviting you to come on the Zoom platform. The links are already in the chat on those two other platforms, so you can just click on it and come over to Zoom before we end. Thank you.
For those who have not joined a room as yet, kindly just be reminded to put your room of choice next to your name to be assigned.
For those who have just joined us, the breakout rooms are now in session. The coaching sessions have started. There are 7 rooms, and they're being projected currently. So you can select the one, if your area is not here specifically, just select a room that is closest to what your career preference is. All right, so for the persons that are joining, the breakout rooms are in session. There are 7 rooms. They're being projected on the screen: health sciences, natural and physical sciences, economics, banking and accounting, customs and trade, law and communications, education, languages, arts and humanities, and social science and social sciences, architecture, engineering, technical vocational studies. So if your specific area is not there, just join the room that is closest to your career preference. All right, for the persons who haven't joined the room, if you're having any challenges, could you indicate? You can type it in the chat so we can assist you with getting to your appropriate room.
We're really sorry about that, but the rooms were set up incorrectly. They're now set up for a total of 75 minutes. So the presenters will have enough time to present and everyone will be able to enjoy their presentations. Just kindly rejoin the room.
Hello, I'm just here. I'm not seeing the option actually to rejoin.
The option should be available to you now. Sorry.
Yes, the
Yeah,
rooms were just open. You can go ahead and join.
I knew I was broken, but there was no one that I could tell. Praying felt like I was throwing pennies in a wishing well. And I started believing I was cursed to carry this weight. I was listing the reasons of why I should walk away, until grace called my name. Oh, I didn't know I could be free until grace found